Have you ever felt ashamed of some of your coping mechanisms that you have to help you with the complex PTSD symptoms? Things like dissociation, addiction, avoidance, any food issues, too much, not enough, the binge purge, self-harm. Because so often our friends, family, in mental health professionals, and we ourselves label them as bad, big problems. Use words like dysfunctional, distorted, unhelpful, and things like that. It makes us feel even more defective, damaged, and broken, right? So I want to address two things today. First, I want to talk about what that looks like for us when we actually reach out for help, and how mental health professionals often address this and why this isn't helpful this way. And then I want to offer you a different perspective. Okay? Let's start. When we first reach out, often, for me, it's often in the very first session with someone, when I don't even know that other person, that they notice one of those coping mechanisms. Usually dissociation for me is the big one. So they point it out, they name it, they label it, sometimes even point out that this is a problem for therapy or for our communication, for our interaction. And then they move on to telling me or asking me if I'm aware of what this costs me. And I don't know about you, but by the time I'm reaching out for help, I am crystal clear that this is affecting me. It is affecting every aspect of my life. You know, but this is my friendships, my relationships, my ability to focus and concentrate or hold down a job, being successful. It's everything. That's why I'm reaching out for help, right? But then they usually move into telling you that we need to replace those coping strategies with some more healthier options. You know, we need to help you to stop doing this or get rid of whatever it is. Okay, so when you're going from labeling something bad to focusing on the cost to trying to get rid of it, it has that underlying message that who I am is not okay. I'm not enough the way I am. I'm not acceptable the way I am. It's the same message we receive throughout our childhood. When this happens, I close off. Okay? So this is, I know this is coming from a well-meaning place, whether this is your friends, family, or mental health professionals. They want to help us stop that suffering. They care, they want us to get better. That's why they say, let's replace those strategies with some more healthy options. You know, we're going to create this toolbox with all healthy options for you. It comes from a well-meaning place, but it just feeds into that story. It's not very effective when we're closing off. So when I offer you a different perspective on this, and first I want to ask you, when is it the very first time you use that coping strategy? Whether this is dissociation, self-harm, addiction. You know, were you 16? Were you 4 years old? 8? 13? What was your age? I'm guessing you were very young. Okay? When I look at dissociation, it feels like I've done this forever. So can you see that there was this young child who came up with a solution to cope with all this horrible pain, this huge emotions, this confusion, this, you know, going through this trauma in the absence of an adult who is there trying to nurture and help that child feel safe again and loved and cared for. That young child had to come up with a solution by themselves to make it through. It's those coping mechanisms, what we call now bad or big problem behaviors, helped you get here today. Can you connect with that fact that that young child was actually very creative and resourceful to come up with solutions? Okay, it's actually pretty much exactly 10 years ago this month that I was first introduced to in a child therapy, and it was so emotional. It was a really difficult therapy for me to do, but as part of it I used to write letters to my inner child, or my younger version if you prefer that, celebrating her, telling her that I feel proud of her and that I think that she was very clever to come up with all those solutions. Okay? Because all of those coping mechanisms, all of those solutions our younger version came up with, they all serve a function. And it is very important that we know, that we get crystal clear on what that function is, okay? Do some deep thinking about it. Check in with, get help from your therapist or coach or whoever you work with that, to really identify the function of it. Okay, anything like, for example, self-harm. People self-harm for many different reasons, has different functions for different people. And when you were looking for replacement options or different solutions for it, you want to make sure that that new practice, that new tool addresses the same function. Otherwise it's going to be useless. Okay? It's very, very key here. But what I like to invite you is to take all of these bad behavior problems, those dysfunctional coping strategies, they're your tools. Put those tools in your toolbox. They're yours to keep. Now you practiced them, you mastered them, you perfected them. You can grab that any moment and you know exactly how to use it and what the effect is. You know? We know that the effect is very short-lived, but we know they're there. It's an option for us in our toolbox. Okay? Let's open that toolbox and let's have a look what's in there. Okay? What's in your toolbox? All the things that I shared so far, all those problem behaviors, the examples I've given you, they're mine. Okay? I didn't have to look up my clients for ideas here or for members of my support groups. They're mine. They're some of my options in my toolbox. What's in yours? Are you happy with what's in your toolbox? Is there some room there? Would you like to add something? And I'd like you to pause now for a moment and just reflect and see if that feels different now from when we looked at our coping mechanism and defined them as a big problem behavior, and we focused on the cost it has on our quality of life and everything, and how we need to get rid of this, and how this is more heavy shame load and approach in a way, to now seeing that this actually was a solution our younger version came up with, and how this was actually quite creative and resourceful given the situation. To now allowing us just to have that there. I don't know about you, but for me it kind of opens me up a little bit more. Feel a little bit more free or curious about, maybe I would like to explore something different. Maybe the explorer in me kind of wakes up, okay? And check in with yourself. Does it do that for you too? And I want to mention one more thing. I know that I talked about a lot of things today, but when it comes to exploring new tools, it's a given that you're going to try things that are really not going to work for you. Things are going to go pear-shaped, things might feel that are more triggering for you, okay? Trigger emotional flashbacks. What are you going to make that mean about yourself when that happens? Because our inner critic is very quick and very fierce at telling us, things like, oh, you're just useless, you're a complete failure. I told you, nothing's going to work for you, you're too damaged. Those kind of thoughts, is that what's happening for you? Because we often completely dismiss the fact that actually takes a lot of courage to try something new. It means we had to step outside of our comfort zone. We had to stretch, ourselves. It takes courage to do that. We completely dismiss that. That needs to be celebrated, regardless of the outcome. Okay? Just because in our childhood there was no one there who encouraged us, celebrated us, or cared about what happened to us, or whether we were coping or not coping. It doesn't mean that we can't have this now. It doesn't mean that we can't give that to ourselves now. Doesn't mean that we can't be our own great cheerleaders. Okay? So when you're trying something and it doesn't turn out the way you thought, don't make it about the outcome. Celebrate the fact that you tried, that you came up with the courage and you tested out something new. Or at least acknowledge it. It's like, hey Tanya, you did a good job trying something new. Something like that. Okay? Just try it. Are you willing to give that a go? Okay? So please leave me a comment down below, and I'm always curious about how you think about that as well.